The doors are open again on the House of Wellness. Today, Christmas present dilemma. How much is too much when buying for your children?
Summer skin survival and how to get your skin fitness level up to speed.
We look into the battle against cancer and learn if we're winning the war.
There are cancers where we can now cure them.
And the psychology of colour, how it affects your everyday.
Look at their smiles. This is amazing.
A show packed with colour and wellness today.
So let's all get well, stay well, live well and look fabulous.
Right here in the House of Wellness. Hello everybody, so good to have you with us today. We are talking children's Christmas presents and how it can be, well, a pretty stressful time for parents, but also just a great time for kids.
I love presents.
Just you wait.
Ooh, I can only imagine. There is so much out there for children these days. So in our story coming up, as parents, are we giving them too much?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Also on the show today, she's a comedian, radio host, wife and mother, and now a published author. She's done it all. Jo Stanley will also be joining us on the sofa today.
Plus, our prince of pharmacists, Gerald Quigley, is back in the hot seat with your calls and questions.
And don't forget, of course, you can find us at houseofwellness.com.au online. Great website. Gerald is there to answer all your questions. You can email him directly with anything troubling you.
You can get those beetroot recipes, all those health tips, exercise tips. You can also call us, 1800 469 788.
And a great way to follow us is on Facebook as well. So check out that site also. But first, as we head, in fact, race towards the silly season, it's a time for celebration and giving gifts, of course. But for many parents, gifting for their children can be more stressful than you think. And how much is too much?
Right? As parents, could you be over gifting at Christmas time? And will giving too much spoil your child or set a precedent you can't maintain?
Yeah, well, joining us to help with this dilemma is our expert social scientist, Dr. Ali Walker. Hi, Dr. Ali.
Hello.
You got two boys, I got two boys. It's a bit stressful. It's time to start gift shopping. And we don't want to disappoint them. In fact, mine said last year, best Christmas ever.
Oh.
And I feel we've made a
Pressure.
rod for our collective backs with this.
Yeah, all around Australia, people are asking the question, what do they want and how much do I buy?
Yeah.
And for a couple of years now on social media, there's been this amazing 4-gift rule rhyme that's been going around.
Oh, okay.
And it's fantastic. So everyone get
Is
your
this our
pens ready.
guideline?
This is the guideline.
Okay.
Okay. Give them something they want, something they need, something to wear and something to read.
I mean, that's 4 gifts.
Yeah.
That's a lot of gifts.
Uh,
And end it.
So Ed and I were talking previously about expectation management. I think so much of life and so much of parenting is expectation management. If you say Santa follows this rhyme and Santa gets 4 things and then they'll be there, what is the thing that I want? What is the thing that and then they can ask those things. And something that I also encourage my kids to do is if you see something that you love in the toy shop, because we all know that shopping with kids can be a nightmare, take a photo. Let's take a photo of the thing that you really love and then we'll send that to Santa.
Oh, that's great. Because otherwise there's no finish line, is there? You think, are there more presents, Grandma? Dad, you got anything at Mum? Any more?
Yeah.
That's nice.
And if you want to take the rhyme a little bit further, then you can give them something to do, something for me, and something for the family. So what we're trying to do here is reinforce the message of Christmas. It's all about giving and gratitude.
Yes, great point. So it isn't just about gifts. How do we transition that and teach them what Christmas is really about?
And I think that's all about getting the keepsakes and getting a gift for everybody. So studies show that a gift of experience makes us happier than a gift of stuff.
Really?
Yes, so in the acute sense, when we get the gift of the something fantastic, ooh, and shiny things, it's amazing, and we get that acute burst of happiness. But over time, we are much happier with a gift of experience.
That's good. So when they open up the gift certificate for a bungee jump and they don't quite know what that is, but you're just laughing, take a photo and maybe they can use it a bit later
But
on.
a sports ticket is something that's really nice, something that you can do together. So reinforcing that sense of togetherness and family and gratitude, I think, is so important. And also giving to others.
And giving back, right?
Giving
so
back.
that's a really important one that you could put into that 4 sequence, maybe 5.
Yes, we can adapt the rhyme. But I think
Yeah.
it's really nice about expectation management.
Yeah, then there's the chorus and you've got to add more gifts in with the
Right?
next chorus, yeah. So for parents about to start Christmas shopping and,
Yes.
and time's ticking down now, isn't it? Let's run through these steps and I love the rhyme.
So follow the rhyme,
Yeah.
something they want, something they need, something to wear and something to read. Give the gift of experience.
Yeah.
and reinforce the message of Christmas, all about togetherness, family and gratitude.
Fascinating.
Need to find something that rhymes with Nerf guns.
Oh my gosh, that is going to be, if I have a boy, my new life, right? Yeah. Nerf guns.
Yeah, your boy's 5, my youngest is 6. We'll have Nerf guns at lunchtime.
Oh, Spider-Man, you will be educated in a
Yeah, you guys, can I just have your hand-me-downs or just re-gift?
Yeah.
whole new lexicon.
Easy, thank you so much.
To be fair, we've lost quite a lot of those bullets, though. Now, it's all about getting the balance right at this time of year, as we've just heard. And, of course, giving your children gifts, but also teaching them values like the importance of giving to charities.
And there are no better charities than those trying to put an end to cancer. Every year, Australians come together to participate in charity events raising millions of dollars for important cancer research in Australia.
So we sent Zoe Bingley-Pullin to investigate how close we are to finding the answer to cancer.
If there's one health issue that touches virtually every human on Earth, it would have to be cancer. Here in Australia, cancer claims a life every 12 minutes. And every year around the planet, 14 million new cases are diagnosed, with an estimated 8.2 million people dying from the toughest of all fights.
For most of us, when we talk about cancer, it's something that we're quite scared about. And unfortunately, most of us know someone who's been diagnosed with cancer. For me, it was my dad, twice. But what exactly is cancer and how close are we when we come to talking about the cure?
Cancer is easily the world's single biggest killer. And with over $500 billion invested or donated in finding a cure, scientists have been fighting it for decades now. So where do we stand in the battle against cancer? Well, Professor David Currow of the Cancer Institute of New South Wales believes scientists aren't searching for one cure, they are searching for hundreds.
Cancer is an umbrella term for hundreds of diseases. The factor that's common to all of them is that cells are multiplying without the body being able to control that. When we make discoveries about one cancer, it has benefits for other cancers. How the cancer multiplies, how it spreads in the body, how the body fights it, are all things that create a domino effect to benefit all cancers. There are cancers where we can now cure them, and we think of testicular cancer, where the cure rates are greater than 98%.
Testicular cancer is treated successfully in 95% of all cases. If treated early, that number raises to 98%, where it used to be a death sentence. Once diagnosed, a man's risk of dying of it is now only 1 in 5,000.
Many diseases that used to be a death sentence no longer are, and for many types of cancer, that's the case. 30 years ago, 1 in 2 people diagnosed with cancer in our community would not be alive at 5 years. Now, we can say that 7 out of 10 will be alive at 5 years. That's a huge turnaround in a very short period of time. And with some of the new medications, the new treatments, we will see that accelerate in the years ahead.
Breast cancer in Australia has been a harder fight. There is no cure yet, but early diagnosis through screening and improved treatments mean we now have one of the highest survival rates in the world. And that is exactly what's happened to breast cancer survivor Bronwyn Wells.
When I was diagnosed, I felt absolutely devastated. My first thought was that I was going to die. The first reaction was complete devastation and fear. I looked a lot at complementary therapies in terms of how that might support my body while I was going through treatment and beyond it. So I had a very strict cancer-friendly diet, so lots of fibrous vegetables and that sort of thing, no alcohol. I meditated. I did all those good things. Whether that helped or not, I'm not entirely sure, but it certainly made me feel like I was doing everything I could to make sure that I was winning my battle against breast cancer. When I got to 10 years and I was clear, that's when I thought, yep, I've beaten this sucker, and I had a glass of champagne.
In 1982, someone's chance of surviving breast cancer 5 years or longer was 72%. It is now consistently 90%.
After the break, Zoe investigates groundbreaking technology to help win the battle.
But now we can enjoy 80–85% survival.
Later we find out how to get your skin summer fit, and it's easier than you think.
Plus, Australian TV and radio personality Jo Stanley will be joining us to talk about her first foray into fictional writing. Hello, Jo. See you soon. That and a whole lot more after the break.
The cure for cancer? It's a big, beautiful dream, isn't it? But with 200 varieties of the disease, if the dream is ever to become a reality, we will need to find 200 separate cures.
This year in Australia, over 135,000 new cases of cancer will be diagnosed and 50,000 people could die of cancer. You know what, we're always looking for that elusive cure when it comes to cancer, but here in Melbourne, could actually be closer than you think.
Relatively speaking, bone cancer in Australia is rare, with around 200 people being diagnosed every year. It is one of the most difficult cancers to treat. But orthopaedic cancer surgeons like Peter Chong, Professor of Surgery at the University of Melbourne, believes that some groundbreaking new treatments are making a big difference to people's lives.
Only 25 odd years ago, the survival of primary bone cancers was sitting somewhere between 30 to 40%. But now we can enjoy 85% survival at 5 years. And that's a tremendous gain when you think of the spectrum of cancers.
The latest breakthrough being trialled is 3D printed bone implants.
3D printed devices and robotic surgery have helped cancer surgery by allowing surgeons to be really accurate. We are able to preserve much more bone, including joints, than we ever did before.
The truth is, despite the billions of dollars that have gone into research, a one-stop cure for all cancers may never be found. But new treatments are definitely saving lives. But that's not to say there aren't any happy endings out there. This is Brioni, mother of Oscar, wife to Peter, and while not everyone's cancer can be cured, hers actually was.
Brioni was diagnosed with cervical cancer over 4 years ago. Now, rather than increase her risk of infertility or early menopause, she decided to go down an alternative route.
Brioni was diagnosed with cervical cancer when she was 37. So after much heartache, she opted to ignore all her doctors and try something called PDT, photodynamic therapy. The only catch was, it was only available in China.
I would drink a concentrated chlorophyll-based solution, which would absorb into the cancer cells. And then the next day, I would have treatment, which was an infrared light treatment applied to the site. And the theory being that that reacts to the solution which has been absorbed, creates oxygen, which is detrimental to the cancer cells.
So the big question is, how do you feel now?
I feel fantastic. I'm coming up to 4 years clear of cancer, and right now I'm 23 weeks pregnant, and it's all going really well.
That is such a great story. Zoe's with me now. It's so nice to see a positive cancer story. And I've got to say, we've got to be a little bit more buoyant about these statistics because they're starting to turn a bit more in our favour, aren't they?
Look, it's very exciting to see that the hopes and technologies sort of are all reaching that wonderful stage. I think let's not be naive. There are a lot of people who are still struggling when it comes to finding that ultimate cure. Someone who works in the complementary field, I get so excited when I see the marriage of all of this information coming together.
Yeah.
I watched my father go through cancer twice where it was quite a different scenario. And I think it's exciting when we actually kind of get that good statistics coming through.
Yeah, let's talk about the tech advancements. We see it with our mobile phones every couple of years.
Yep.
Medically too, the leaps we're making every 3 to 4 to 5 years.
Well, going into UTMIS was absolutely fascinating to see. It was very revolutionary. I'm an absolute, techie type person. I love anything futuristic. Just amazing to see. Not only was 3D printing being used for sort of more superficial things. This is actually really being used for something amazing. And the difference is also is where they would operate and they take out a whole entire joint, they're able to just take out that little bit of the bone. It's a real breakthrough. Amazing.
Quickly, as we saw in the story with Brioni, that photodynamic therapy as well was really successful for her.
It's a fine line, isn't it? Because obviously there are mainstream technology out there and Brioni went away from that mainstream and did the research. I think if anyone's going to go down that path, it's so important that they absolutely do the due diligence and make sure they are getting the right information. And in her case, it was wonderfully successful.
Yeah, good. And teaming it with diet. Diet is health.
Diet is key.
Thanks for that. But wait, everyone, there are more Zoes.
Thanks, guys. Now, while we're still trying to understand some cancers, if you live in Australia, there's no way you don't know about the link between skin cancer and the sun. But skin cancer isn't the only problem the sun can cause. As little as half an hour of unprotected sun exposure can cause skin damage, dehydration and premature ageing. The good news is it can be avoided, and here to help us get skin fit for our summer months is aesthetic physician and my very good friend, Joseph Hkeik. Welcome.
Thank you, Zoe. Good morning.
Now, we are living in one of the most brutal countries in the world for sun damage and UV. What can we do to avoid this?
It's very true what you just mentioned. We do live in a country that has got beautiful sun, but we do have a hole in the ozone layer, and this is really why we get so much more sun damage compared to other countries. So the number step that we can really do is just to protect our skin against the sun. But secondly, if we can improve our skin fitness level, so we can handle the environment that we live in.
So when we're talking skin fitness, what does that mean for our face and body? Are they different things?
Well, I used the word skin fitness when I started to use it 7 years ago to actually try to help people understand really what I mean to protect your skin, to improve your skin level. We all understand physical fitness. You know, we all know that you need to run, you need to exercise, lift weight to become stronger.
Yeah.
The same thing we need to apply to our skin. So we need to nurture our skin, we need to protect it, we need to improve the immunity of our skin. So the skin can handle the sun, we don't get the same damage.
Right.
Otherwise.
Okay, so what would some of those skin fitness tips be?
Well, look, pretty much you need to, number one anti-aging product still worldwide is the sunscreen.
Yeah,
so you need to protect your skin, and this is easy available, it's very achievable, it's really not negotiable in my eyes. I think every person in Australia should use sunscreen every single day.
Is that for face and body?
Face and body, but more importantly on the face, because normally most of the time we are dressed, but our face and our hands are exposed, and our neck of course, and the chest if you're a woman. So you need to protect those areas against the sun. You need to increase the level of antioxidant. Now, antioxidant is a broad term that we use, but what antioxidants are a product that will help protect your skin against the sun. The sun causes a free radical damage in your skin. When you take antioxidant orally, that could be in the form of vitamin A, vitamin C, resveratrol, red wine, of course.
Dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate. They're all good ingredients that we can take orally to protect our body and our skin, but also you can apply them topically. So speak to your doctor, speak to your pharmacist, and ask them to give you the right ingredient to protect your skin as far as antioxidants.
So we can be taking precautions inside and out?
Always, I think always. With the skin is part of your body, part of it's a whole system of its own. It's the biggest organ in our body. So you need to take orally as well as topically. You need to nurture it, you need to feed it.
And so if we're talking skin fitness and precautions, what are some tips that you would say are essential? Okay.
Number one, always a skincare.
Okay.
And then sunscreen.
Yes.
You know, it could be in the form of chemical sunscreen, it could be in the form of physical sunscreen. And also it's important to know how we apply them because they're totally different application. When you apply before, like the chemical, you always apply first step, the physical you apply the last step. Second tip will be antioxidant. They should be really high on your list of supplement, also on your list of nutritional ingredient that you take on a daily basis. And third one really is you gotta just stay away from the sun as much as you can.
Well, I was going to say, should we just be avoiding it a little bit?
I think in Australia, worldwide, we're all vitamin D deficient, so we need some sun, but you need some protected sun exposure, not unprotected.
Dr. Joseph, you are my go-to with skin. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Stay with us after the break. Gerald Quigley is in the house to answer all your calls and questions.
And later, the second fittest man on the show, Commando Steve Willis, will be joined. Yes, with an overall workout for us.
Feeling blue, green with envy or seeing red, colours may affect your mood more than you realise.
And colour is just that vehicle for expression, just to motivate people to get outdoors on a Sunday morning and have fun.
All that and so much more. Stay with us on the House of Wellness.
Okay, ladies, it's that time again when we roll out the most comfortable chair on TV, then give you the floor. And thanks to our friends at LifeSpace, passionate makers of specialist probiotics, it's all about the baby that's coming. Every week, we seek out a well-deserving mother-to-be, give her a great big comfy chair to rest in, a soothing foot massage from our Rob, and the chance to ask our panel of pregnancy experts for a little good advice.
We're 26 weeks pregnant as of yesterday. I feel great. It's been a really beautiful journey, and I'm hopeful for a natural pregnancy. More than anything, I want it to be natural. I'd like it to be in water. I don't know if that's possible, but that's the end goal for me.
This is Jo and Jean-Philippe. Their relationship is full of fire and passion, and what worries Jo is the possibility that baby might affect their love life.
If I undergo a caesarean section, which I'm hoping will not happen, when can I have sex? And if I don't undergo a caesarean and it's a natural birth, when is the safest time to start having sex?
Go for it. If you feel like sex, have it. There is no evidence that there's any problem. If you have things like a low-lying placenta, if you've had bleeding, you may be asked to be a bit more cautious around sex. You'll find as your pregnancy bump advances, you'll need to get into some other exciting and innovative positions in order to navigate that. You know, whether it's a caesarean section or whether it's a vaginal birth. For example, if you have a vaginal birth with absolutely no stitches, you may want to resume sex earlier than someone who had, for example, an episiotomy or a cut to the perineum. So go with your own feelings on that. Probably under 2 weeks, it might be a bit uncomfortable, but really follow your own guide on that. If you want to be given a time, 6 weeks is the kind of, you know, textbook time.
Oh, hell, I'm a mum of 5, so I suppose I've had sex at least 5 times. When I had my children, there used to be the 6-week rule. Now, some mothers absolutely love the 6-week rule, or they might tell you it's a 3-month rule. The doctor says, because they're trying to have a bit of a break. But really, I think when you feel like it and you feel healed, it's really a very personal thing as to when you start having sex again. And you can still enjoy intimacy with cuddles and kisses and whatever, and talking to your partner about how you feel is pretty important.
Right then, well, that's something more for you and Benji to discuss a little bit later on.
That was fascinating. I cannot wait to talk about that.
I'll have a good talk. Have a good one. It is time on the show, though, for our favourite portion of the House of Wellness. Your calls. GQ is back with us. Hello.
Hello, Ed. Hello, Zoe.
Hello.
Great story.
Great, important story.
We can chat about that later.
Let's keep that, between us.
1800 469 788 is our number. We have Freddie first up, standing by in Adelaide. Hi, Freddie.
Listen, I suffer from a really painful ingrown toenail. It heals, but then it comes back not long after. What can I do about it?
Well, you're a mani-pedi aficionado. How can we help?
Very good, Ed, yes. And I have a podiatrist in the family as well.
Good.
The fact that the ingrown toenail comes back, Freddie, it shows there's a foot problem somewhere. So it's probably a pair of shoes, and it may be the shoes that you really enjoy most. So look at your shoes because it will be a problem. To treat it, keep the nail short. There are products you can put on that are antifungal, antibacterial to promote the healing. But you've got to remove the cause first. That's the most important thing.
Brand new shoes, not so bad, Freddie.
No.
Some Crocs?
Maybe not.
No.
OK, gave it a shot. Next up, an email from Pauline, who's written from Rockhampton in Queensland. I have tennis elbow. I'd like to know what I could take or do to ease the pain. This is a strange one, isn't it? It's like an overuse type of injury.
Yes, repetitive strain, Ed, and it's caused often by fine movements that are constant. The best solution is a nutrient called MSM, reduces the pain and the discomfort. A tennis elbow brace fitted by your pharmacist to help immobilise those fine muscles there, and turmeric as a general pain reliever. So that combination, with a bit of emphasis on the other hand, so the opposite side, that can make a difference.
Indeed, you might not even have ever picked up a tennis racket in your life and you can still get tennis.
That's right. That's how easy and common it is.
OK, strange one. Next up, we go to Tracy. She's standing by in Mascot, New South Wales. Hi, Tracy.
Is it safe to use mosquito zappers in the nursery? And what do you put on mozzie bites for a little baby?
If the zapper doesn't work, yeah.
Are there chemicals in that zapper?
Well, yes. No, the zapper is where they land and they die. But you can get... There are drug-free, so pyrethrins, that generally just puff out a bit of a mist. They seem to be OK. But you needn't use it while the baby's in the room. Hopefully there are no mozzies. Mozzies carry disease. So the last thing you need is a bite from a mozzie on a baby. So if you think there's a mozzie in the room, fumigate the room without the baby for a few hours. Get the baby out of the room. And to treat it, so hopefully it never happens, but a dab of lavender oil, a dab of some antihistamine, there's a few products around.
So the zapper's that sort of purple ring and you... when the...
That would wake a baby up, wouldn't it?
It's a bit of a barbecue stopper when you're out eating.
Freaking out all night.
Yes.
All right, good luck with that one. Thanks for your call. 1800 469 788 is our number, by the way, here at the House of Wellness. An email from Grace in Victoria. She writes, I suffer with inflammation of the eyelids. Can you recommend anything I could use to alleviate the problem? It's reoccurred. And it's kind of on the conjunctivitis kind of line.
Which is more inside the eye, but we're talking here inflammation, Ed, on the outside. It's got a fancy name called blepharitis, and that's treated. You've got to clean all the dry skin off. Some of it will come from your scalp, so if you've got dry skin on your scalp, treat that as well. There are solutions specifically for cleansing eyelids. Some people use baby shampoo. It can sting a bit, so best off to use the specific solution. Clean it off, a thin smear of the ointment of weak hydrocortisone, and it'll be fixed in a matter of applications.
You pharmacists have a little product for everything.
Everything. Like, that's why you're on speed dial now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
From you.
Yes. Covers everything.
We'll see you later in the show.
Okay.
And don't forget, everyone, you can find us at houseofwellness.com.au. If you missed us last week or the week before, you can watch us there. I love it. I watch us a lot there.
I know.
And you can drop Gerald a line by email or call him, 1800 469 788. And if you haven't liked us on Facebook, what are you doing? So much great stuff there. Next up, Commando Steve's got your back, Ed.
Righty, I feel like I've turned up to boot camp. I'm the only one who's turned up. Commando Steve's here. I don't even recognise you without camo gear on.
Yeah, I thought I'd do something different.
Whoa, and you haven't blended into the background. Mate, I've got a really bad relationship with kettlebells. You said we were going to talk about this week. I thought you said put the kettle on, so I was fine. But you brought in these weapons of mass pain here.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to run through some great exercises. It's all about kind of general body preparedness,
totally.
Conditioning.
Yeah, so from my army days, it was all about the general physical preparedness.
Yeah.
And nothing better than a kettlebell to really work that fitness and drive home that point.
Okay, look, it's a rough, rudimentary bit of equipment, but you love it, right? The Russians invented this thing, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Many hundreds of years ago, but it's made its way into the West, and I thought I'd bring it in today and run us through a bit of a workout.
It's just seriously a Russian cannonball they've sold.
Added a handle to.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. All right, what can we do with the kettlebells?
So the workout that I've got today is 3 to 5 rounds, depending on your fitness level.
Yep.
And the first exercise is a mountain jumper. So we don't need the kettlebell. It can stay there and be an ornament for a second. So mountain jumper, push-up position, jump the knees into the chest and back out to extension.
Go on, Ed.
So work 30 of
What are you
those.
doing?
Are you going to give it a crack?
Yeah, on the next one.
And then the next exercise...
Because you only brought in one kettlebell. Mad oversight by you.
Oh, well, I can demonstrate and then you can actually work out.
On we go.
Then just hold the kettlebell up at the chest and the good old-fashioned lunge. Just working an alternating lunge. If you find it too much pressure on the knees stepping to the front, just step to the rear.
Okay.
To the ground and then back, and then once you've done 20 lunges, 10 each leg, work a kettlebell swing. So you can go full range of movement if you know how to swing a kettlebell, or just to eye line. Now, it looks like a big, heavy piece of equipment, but this is only 12 kilos. If you're new to kettlebells, you can go lighter, 8 kilos, or if you're someone who's quite fit, go a 24 or 32 kilo.
Yeah, fantastic.
That really test the heart rate.
24. There's no need to start at the 24. We're going to build up, and we're thinking about building up over summer. Mate, this is a big part of your army training as well. And look, you don't have to be an elite commando to throw a few kettlebells.
No, definitely. It's all about that overall fitness, that conditioning, and then everything else that comes from that is a byproduct.
Yeah. And I guess the great thing about that is it'll bring in a whole bunch of muscles. It'll recruit everything as you're going through that.
Exactly. Legs, back, core, upper back, and it'll definitely help to tone those arms.
Fantastic, mate. You got my back. Thanks for that. I feel good. Feel better after our workout. Plenty more to come. If your gut's not feeling right, maybe probiotics are the answer for you. And after the break, it's not just a pigment of your imagination. Colour can affect your mood.
I think I'll be farting sparkles for a week.
We'll see you back here after the break.
It's everywhere we look and everywhere we don't. We delight in its beauty consciously and subconsciously every single day. We see colour all the time, but how often do we think about the way it affects our emotions or even our bodies?
Imagine a world without colour. Everything would be completely different. Colour breathes life into everything that we know, and it has such an effect on us. colour affects every part of our lives, from how we live to how we feel. So what is it about colour that has such a profound effect on us?
To get more of an understanding of the psychology of colour and why it affects us, I've tracked down colour expert Wendy Greenhalgh at the International School of Colour and Design.
Colour is emotion, and emotion is how we react. Sometimes we'll see something and we have an emotional connection to it. Colours have different energy levels, and so when you wear different colours or you eat different colour foods, that all plays a part in how you feel.
Now, it's one thing to talk about colour and see colours, but to really get the full experience of the impact colour can have on your life, you have to totally immerse yourself in it.
Now, anyone who knows me knows that I don't really run for fun. It's sort of just something that you do to keep fit. But here I am today at the happiest 5-kilometre run on earth, the Melbourne Colour Run. And look at these ladies! How can you not have a big smile on your face?
The Melbourne Colour Run is a complete celebration of colour. Over 10,000 people have descended on Flemington Racecourse to take part in this year's event, with just one thing in mind: to let the colours run and have some fun. With almost 60 events under his belt, event organiser Tim Winch knows what it's all about.
It's all about happiness, healthiness and individuality down here today. You'll see unicorns, you'll see foam machines and you'll see plenty of colour, but it is the happiest place in the world. It's all about encouraging people to be active in a really healthy way, and colour is just that vehicle for expression, just to motivate people to get outdoors on a Sunday morning and have fun.
And half the fun is checking out the outfits. There are unicorns, there's a bunch of tutus, there's even a repurposed wedding dress. This really is a great day out for all the family.
How much fun are you having?
Yeah, terrific. It's great fun. Yeah. I think I'll be farting sparkles for a week.
Do you know what? I'm with you as well. I love the glitter. It is Christmas. I am feeling a lot like a Christmas tree. I am covered head to toe in glitter and tinsel. Look at this smile and look at their smiles. This is amazing. What a day. So much fun, so much colour. Everybody here has the biggest smile on their face. It truly is the happiest 5 kilometres on the planet. I really can't imagine a world without colour.
Well, colour me happy, that looked a whole lot of fun, Lynette, except for the bit when you get the dye sprayed in your face and but it does look like a fun experience.
But that's half the fun. It's getting it out of your hair afterwards. It's a challenge. But it was such an amazing experience. I've done fun runs before. But having that extra colour element, it's so exhilarating. It's also raising a lot of good money. So there's been $1.5 million raised for over 50 charities since 2012.
And interestingly too, colour plays such an important role in our lives every day. It makes you think about it as you're running and getting bombarded with these dyes.
Colour's everything. So we've got red traffic lights, we've got green traffic lights, pink for girls, blue for boys. I'm one of those people that really, you can tell what emotion I'm feeling because of the colour that I'm wearing. And actually, marketers use a lot of colours to make us buy certain things and make us feel certain ways.
Could this be true that colours can actually heal us?
way back in the, the Egyptian days, they've always used colours, and we sort of have brought that forward as well. So we use crystals, and if you go to the doctor, they might use some light therapy, colour therapy.
Yeah.
I love it. I love a lot of colour, and it does make me feel a certain way during the day. And even if you go into hospitals, you'll notice that all the doctors have that sort of that green and blue colour they're wearing because it's quite calming.
Good point. I can't decide if you look like my green or my yellow highlighter, but you're delightfully colourful yourself today. Great story.
A combination.
Okay. We'll let you go and shower after our next story, we promise. Good job, Zoe.
And don't forget, every Sunday morning, catch our very own Eduardo.
Hello.
And the team, Gerald will be there too, at House of Wellness on 2GB in Sydney, 3AW in Melbourne, 4BC in Brisbane, 5AA in Adelaide and 6PR in Perth. Lots of great tips for you there.
Radio House of Wellness too.
Wow! Stay with us, the House of Wellness will be back after the break. On the A to Z of vitamins, we'll find out how to maintain an efficient immune system.
Comedian and TV personality Jo Stanley will be here to talk about her new role as a published author. Hello, Jo. See you soon.
Back here on the House of Wellness. Welcome back, everyone, to the House of Wellness. Our next guest wears many hats. Comedian, actor, writer and radio host. Joining us on the sofa today, we have the lovely Jo Stanley.
Hi, Jo.
Whew, I'm exhausted already.
I'm exhausted. We're all exhausted.
Right? So tell me, you're all of those things and now an author.
I know.
Let's talk about balance. I know it's such a key word at the moment. How do you do it all?
Well, I don't do it all. Don't you think balance is just, it's a fallacy? It doesn't actually happen.
That's why we talk about it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm very good at saying no. That's a skill that you have to develop.
Yes.
And I have lowered my standards. So generally speaking, things like I am happy if my daughter, who's 8, has broccoli, maybe 5 nights a week.
Yeah, good.
The other 2, it's spaghetti on toast. I don't really care. You've
great.
got to lower your standards. You've got to be kind to
5
yourself.
times a week is still good. I don't even know if I get broccoli 5 times a week. That's
Well,
great.
I might have exaggerated.
Now let's talk about this.
Yeah.
The new books. You are an author. Bring it on. Where did this inspiration come from?
Yeah, so the series is called Play Like a Girl.
Play Like a Girl?
Yes. And
so this book is Bring It On.
This is the first book.
Perfect.
Yes.
And now we've gone on, and because
We've
you're
got
not
4
busy
of
enough,
them.
you were like, I'm just going to do 4, 5, 7.
I wrote 4 in one go.
Goodness
First time I'd ever written a book, I thought I'll do 4.
Yeah, ambitious.
Why wouldn't you? There's another 2 coming out next year, and they're about an under-11 girls AFL footy team.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
I needed this book so I'd get into sport earlier.
This is what I'm
allergic,
I'm
and
the
that's
same.
why.
So I never played sport at school, and I'm really sad that wasn't something that was really encouraged in my family.
Yes.
I was very bookish. I sat at home just reading.
Clearly, and
which
writing
is,
lots
yeah,
of
that's
it, yeah.
right. But, I think I would have been a much sort of happier person, definitely going into my teens and 20s with my mental health, if I'd exercised more. So this is about getting girls out and being active.
And it really reflects the way the women's AFL comp was so happily embraced this year. No black and white stripes there, I see, though, for your favourite team.
Well, no, I am a Collingwood supporter.
What are you going to do? Hey?
Well, I was born into it.
Yeah.
And unlike you, who was convinced by your brother,
Yes.
that's unkind of him to do.
He walloped me till I said I loved Collingwood.
Yes.
Curse
Whereas
you.
I inherited it, and my poor daughter has as well. So.
I don't know if anyone out there like me has just tuned out because of the sports. So what is next? I mean, 2 more books, all the things.
All the things.
Continuing all the things?
No, actually, I feel like my next 12 months is going to be exploring a lot more around the mindfulness meditation space, and just really, my purpose is really kind of sounds a bit airy-fairy if you're not into it, but my purpose is just being uplifting wherever I am and trying to make that shift in the world, because don't you think there's not enough of that?
No, there isn't. There is not.
Good mission to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I hope you're uplifted.
Yeah.
I'm feeling
Feel
good.
uplifted.
And what a perfect thing in time for Chrissy. Great presents for girls and boys.
Absolutely.
Check out.
Another stocking filler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better let you go for the school run. Nice to see you, Jo.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Stay with us after the break. If you want to boost your immune system, the A to Z of vitamins is for you. Welcome back to the House of Wellness. Gut health next on the agenda. It's time for the A to Z of vitamins. Gerald Quigley is back with us. Hello, GQ.
Ed, Zoe. Gut.
I'm a big fan of gut health.
Yes, yes. Well, yours is coming along beautifully, I must say.
Growing by the day.
Come on, it's gorgeous.
I didn't mean it like that.
Okay, right. We've talked about antibiotics plenty, haven't we? But probiotics, what do they do? What's their role?
Antibiotics, first of all, take bacteria out of your system. They kill both the good and the bad. There is a specific probiotic with a long name called Saccharomyces, Ed, which is the only one you can take at the same time as an antibiotic. That's worth considering if ever you're on antibiotics for any period of time. So we've grown up with probiotics as immune support, but we're learning that that 3 kilogram that we all carry of living material in our gut is responsible for not just immune function, but everything. Mental health. People who are struggling with mental health usually have a disturbed microbiome, so probiotics help there. Research this week has just come out showing it can actually affect blood pressure, how that happy family is in your gut. So whatever you put in your mouth, and we've got some fermented foods here, that's information for your gut. It's either good or bad. So high sugar, high fat, high salt, probably not the best food. And it's a good way of thinking about what you actually eat. We've got to keep that little family in there as happy as we can.
And probably a little important tip, if you've just done a dose of antibiotics, maybe top up the probiotics just to settle the balance.
That's called restoring. So we've cleaned things out that we need to restore.
And maintain.
And maintain, yes.
All right, time for a few more calls. Let's jump to Tanya, who's standing by in Ashgrove in Queensland. Hi, Tanya.
Oh, hi. I suffer from eczema on my face. Is there a lighter cream that I can use? Because I've heard that steroid cream thins your skin.
And in Ashgrove, so it's starting to get pretty humid in Queensland this time of year too,
yes,
right?
and perspiration can sting if you've got dryness. Look, there is a range for reactive skin called Aven. It's actually based on mineral water from France. Very soothing, very calming for reactive skin. And at this time of the year in Queensland would be worth having about.
Absolutely. All right, next up, an email from Tony, who's written from Croydon in New South Wales. Is there anything I could take for my asthma that would help lower my dosage for Ventolin and Seretide?
Tony, it's all about, there's two aspects here, and we've talked about asthma before, but your inhaler technique is very important. Often people say, oh, my inhalers don't help me with my wheezing. It's because they use their inhalers not the correct way. Go to the pharmacist, have him check out your inhaler technique.
Right.
There are some things, using isotonic saline without a preservative stops the postnasal drip, but really you've got to use the puffers correctly. Then usually, if they're efficient, you can back off a bit.
It'd be a high percentage of people that don't use the Ventolin inhalers properly.
Half, it's estimated.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Keep the questions coming. 1800 469 788 is our number. Final caller is standing by. Margaret in WA, hello.
I'd like to know what can be done about ringing in the ears.
Yeah, like a tinnitus.
Tinnitus.
Yeah.
There is a specific extract, Margaret, of a herb. It's got a fancy name, sounds a bit like petrol. EGB 761. That is specifically made for tinnitus, and that's available dose 1 each day from your pharmacy.
Fantastic. Thank you, GQ.
Excellent. Got to go.
Before we go, I want to share something with you guys. We have a very special, I can't even talk, I'm so excited. Special guest joining us next week from reality starter powerhouse. She is here to meet you.
Hello, Australia. Very excited to announce I'm coming to Sydney soon to Chemist Warehouse to launch my new fragrance, Rose Rush. I'll see you guys very soon. I love you.
Calm down. Calm down, okay, she's coming.
We'll be
sitting down with Paris. It's true.
Empire building knows no bounds. Our house will become a Hilton. How about that? Thanks to everyone who's appeared on the show today, and a big thanks to all our friends at Chemist Warehouse as well for getting behind us here at the House of Wellness. Au revoir.
See you soon.